Hello, Seiiti arata. You are buying a life that is not yours. Do you have the profile of a slave who is disguised as a free person? Let's do a quick test to figure out which category you fit into. You are, let's say, over 30, you already earn pretty well, but you're feeling trapped on the rat race. Then you wake up at 6 a.m. already with your phone in your hand. You are already checking notifications. You work 9 hours a day at a job that pays your bills, but doesn't fill your soul. You come home exhausted, and then you take refuge in your couch, scrolling through endless feeds until late at night. And then on weekends, you try to make up for the lost time. You might go to the mall, or maybe you're just browsing online shopping, buying things that you need, books that you promised to read, clothes that you wear just once, so gadgets that become obsolete in a few months. You're just surrounded by purchases and you're feeling that you spent money where you shouldn't, buying things that didn't bring you anything useful. Now your house is packed. Your clothes are there, crammed in your shelves, together with unread books. Your drawers have so many cables and chargers and broken headphones, that things that you're going to fix one day. And you spend basically more time organizing your stuff rather than using it. You're spending more time being the janitor of your own clutter than actually living. Underneath this, there is a constant feeling that your life is passing on autopilot, that you became a hamster on a wheel, just running faster and faster, but just going nowhere. That's how you become a functional zombie. You just repeat routines, you consume stimuli, but you're no longer deciding anything with your own intention. That's how you lose control of your own choices. Now, if this sounds familiar, this is not because you're not choosing your life. You're being chosen by it. You became hostage to a system that profits from your dissatisfaction. This is the problem. That anxiety that you feel sometimes 3 in the afternoon at work, when you want to open Instagram and just look at other people living lives that apparently are more interesting than your own life. That feeling that makes you go to online shopping, just browsing around for things that probably will help you to make you feel a little bit better, or that's what you hope. This is not an accident. This is architecture. This is planned. You became a professional consumer. You're being bombarded to keep you dissatisfied, to make you believe that the life you have right now is not enough, that you need more productivity, more status, more things, more stuff, more experiences, more optimization. And every time you buy something to improve your life, basically you're feeding a machine that profits from your sense of inadequacy. You become dissatisfied. The more you consume, the more you buy things, the more dependent you become on searching for external solutions. Do you get it? Do you see the problem? Do you understand the problem of living life like this? That you're becoming like a slow prey, a herbivore, grazing on easy stimuli, to be living on defensive mode, by notifications, by rules, by distractions. This is avoiding responsibility to create your own life, your own path. Stay until the end here, because I'm going to be showing you how to escape this trap before it is too late for you to reverse that damage. Every single day that passes without action, you sink deeper into an invisible prison that will cost you decades of your life, of your wasted life. Every object in your house is proof of a broken promise. Just look around right now in your house. Every object you see is telling you a story of a decision that you made, believing that that item somehow would change something important in your life. That expensive exercise equipment that you don't use, it's like a rack for your clothes. You bought it imagining a stronger, athletic version of you, but it didn't happen. The books you have on your shelf, They were promising to unlock a wiser version of you. The clothes that you bought that you don't use, that you're imagining a social version of you. Your house becomes basically a museum of broken promises, a cemetery of idealized versions of yourself that do not materialize. That is a collection of fantasies that you had, but you didn't have the consistency to achieve that transformation. And every object that you bought over there is like a silent reminder that you failed once again. I'm not saying that you don't have the discipline. It's not that it's, you have been conditioned to believe that change comes from the outside, that you can buy a product, a training, a tool that will transform you to become the person that you want to become. But that transformation, that is not something you can buy. If that would be the case, rich people would be the most fulfilled people on the planet. Minimalism is a declaration of war against those who are trying to control you. Minimalism is so important. It is not about having fewer things. That is a misconception. Minimalism is about having more choices. It is about recovering your capacity for conscious decision making. It is about getting out of the autopilot mode and going back to being the protagonist, the main person in your own story. Minimalism is not deprivation. It is a personal revolution against a system that hijacked your capacity for choice. It is the process of stopping being manipulated like an NPC and taking the position of an agent, a hunter, a leader for your own life. When you practice true minimalism, you break the dependence on external approval, on validation through items that you buy, on temporary relief through shopping. You recover something that consumerism stole from you, which is the freedom to consciously choose how you want to live. That is the difference between reacting to stimuli and responding with intention, between being carried by the current and swimming in the direction that you actually choose, between living on autopilot and taking control of your trajectory. You lost your freedom without realizing when you stopped questioning. You lost your freedom when your decisions became predictable, when you react to the same stimuli without thinking, in the same way that you used to do before every single time. You see an online course, and then you look at that ad that promises you that you're going to be finally learning a particular skill, and you think that's it. You go to shopping, then you see some item, then you think, oh, okay, I need to buy those clothes. You open your phone to check some information, something useful, but suddenly you are already browsing mindlessly. That's how you lose your freedom. When you stop having conscience, you stop questioning what do you want and why do you want the thing that you believe you want. You lose your freedom when your emotions become dependent on external factors. When you need to buy something just to feel good. When you need to consume a certain content to feel productive. When you need constant validation to actually feel okay, to feel valuable. This herbivore NPC is incapable of hunting their own desires. They're passive, they're just accepting whatever is in front of them. Now, the good news is that freedom is not something that you conquer one time in your life and that's it. It is something that you do every single day through conscious choices. So, you have to recognize, resist, and redesign to exit the matrix. These are the 3 steps. The first stage is recognition. You have to realize you're living on autopilot, that your decisions are predictable, that you've been reacting to the same stimuli in the same way for many years, that your house is full of evidence of unconscious choices. This stage is pretty uncomfortable because it breaks the illusion that you are in control when oftentimes you're not. And then you're ready for the second stage. That is active resistance. You begin to consciously question your impulses. Before you go and buy something new, you just ask yourself, do I really need this, or am I just being manipulated by my own emotions? Then you can implement barriers between your impulse and your action. You create more space for your conscious choice. Then we have the third stage. That's conscious redesign. You stop defining yourself by what you consume, and you start defining yourself what is valuable, what do you create. You stop seeking identity through possessions and start building your identity through your values, your actions. You stop being a passive consumer. You become an active creator of your own experience. Listing, pausing, and redirecting will break any dependency. That's how we're going to move forward now. The first technique is a dependency inventory. You're going to list all the things that you feel that you need to feel good, fulfilled. The objects, the apps, experiences, and people. And then you ask yourself, what would happen if I would be 30 days without these things? The items that cause you the most anxiety, just imagining that you are without them, they are your dependencies. And a dependency, by definition, is the opposite of freedom, right? The second technique is an intentional pause. Every time you feel the impulse to buy something, you can implement a pause for 24 hours for a purchase up to $100. You can have 7 days for a budget of $300 and so on. The bigger the expense, the more pause you make. And then you understand what is the emotion that you need to regulate here. Most of the time, that impulse will just disappear. And when it disappears, you realize it was not a real need. It was just emotional manipulation disguised as a rationalization, like, oh, I really need this. The third technique is a creative redirection. Every time you feel like you want to consume something, you can redirect that energy to actually create something. Stop wanting to buy clothes. You can spend your time doing something useful. You can walk, you can meditate, you can cook, you can spend time with your family. That is so much more gratifying. If you feel like you want to pay to be part of an experience, well, maybe you just can learn how to play a musical instrument, learn something useful for your profession, learn a language. You can just be spending more time, more active, doing something rather than just consuming. Doing those changes, you're basically reprogramming your brain to associate satisfaction with creation, producing, rather than just consuming. Time, mind, money, emotion, creativity, they all come back, they return to you. When you practice conscious minimalism, you are developing specific types of freedom that consumerism steals from you. Your life changes in 5 fundamental ways. First of all, you get your time back. You stop spending hours browsing shopping websites, comparing prices, organizing knickknacks to have in your home that you're basically never going to use. Your hours become your hours for you, for your people you love. That's going to be huge in your life. The second thing, your mind becomes free because you're no longer being bombarded by 1,000 visual stimuli every time you look around. You can think properly. You can concentrate. You can create without distraction. And third, your money stops disappearing. You stop spending on emotional impulse that is disguised as a necessity because your real money is now left over to do what really matters. Experiences that really transform you, projects that really fulfill you. As a fourth change, your emotions, you become emotionally independent. You stop needing to buy something every time you're feeling anxious, you're feeling bored, you're feeling dissatisfied. You develop internal resources to deal with any situation. And a fifth one, you become a creative person again. You stop looking at what you can consume, at ready-made solutions for everything in your life. You go back to creating, inventing, improvising, solving problems with your own head, with your resources, and that is liberating. You see, minimalism is a political rebellion that is disguised as just being organized. When you choose minimalism, you're not simply organizing your home. No, you're making a silent political statement that you refuse to be defined by what you consume. You refuse to have your happiness hijacked by impulses. You refuse to be on autopilot. You're saying no to an economic system that profits from your insecurities, from your dissatisfaction. And you're saying yes to something much more powerful, which is your capacity to find satisfaction in what you already have. You become resourceful. You live intentionally instead of just reacting. So you see, this is not deprivation. This is real abundance, because now you don't need anything external to feel good, to feel okay, to feel complete. You have access to an inexhaustible source of contentment. The life you want is not in the next item that you're going to buy. It is in the conscious choices that you make from now on, in those dependencies that you break from, in the impulses that you start to question, the creativity that you're going to liberate when you stop looking for ready-made solutions. Every day that you postpone this decision, it becomes harder for you to escape this trap. And then you're losing time, money, and mainly your capacity to freely choose how you want to live. That's why you urgently need to stop making these mistakes. So stop what you're doing right now. Go visit the link arata.se/planning your life before it's too late, of these decades of conditioning that are transforming you into a slave of consumption. You see, what are the logical choices you have? You can continue living your life as a professional consumer, or you can regain control of your life with conscious planning that will break all dependencies, external stimuli. Consumerism is trapping you. You need to free yourself. So what does it make sense for you now? To continue as an NPC that only feels a little bit of happiness when you buy items to be impressing other people? I believe in you. I believe you have the potential for much more than that.